Go, come on. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Even you have to smile on that one.
Not too long ago, I opened up a poll on the community tab. The poll asked the question, what content do you guys want to see a lot more than just the standard bashing of today's current NBA or just covering games? Some of you guys said the history of the NBA. Most of you guys said that. And some of you guys said NBA arenas was the other choice. Most of you guys want me to cover the ongoing illegal gambling scandal that's going on in the NBA, and we'll get to that soon. Some of you guys want me to cover Gilbert Arenas, the history of him in the NBA. And lastly, one person mentioned, when I talk about the current situation that's going on with the San Antonio's arena, San Antonio Spurs arena, the Frost Bank Center. If that is the name, I am correct. So, I'll choose letter C for now. I'm going to choose letter C. So, buckle up, sit down, and listen to some history for right quick of some NBA arenas. So, currently, like I said before, make sure you guys subscribe and like the video. San Antonio has a dilemma. The Spurs have a dilemma. And it's a weird dilemma. But anyways, let's take it all the way back. So, San Antonio Spurs have not always been known as the San Antonio Spurs, if you know. Some of us might know. The San Antonio Spurs started out as an ABA franchise in 1967, known as the Dallas Chaparrals, when they played in Dallas. Then it became the Texas Chaparrals for a year before finally becoming the San Antonio Spurs in 1973. Still in the ABA. The Spurs wouldn't go to the NBA until 1976. As you all know, it took them a while to win their 5 rings, not into the late 90s and 2000s and 2010s. So there's that. But when they first moved to San Antonio, because I'm going to keep this in San Antonio only, not going to go to Dallas. When they first started out as the San Antonio Spurs, they played at what they call it, the Hens Fair Arena, which was part of the Hens Fair expansion area. That's what it's called, or for the world's Hens Fair or whatever it's called. They would play there for 20 years, for most of George Gervin's time there, from 1973 to 1993. Then they figured the Hens Fair Arena was way too small. The capacity for the stadium was 16,000, which is still large for its time. But at this time, capacities in stadiums were starting to go up. So they would move the Spurs out of the Hens Fair, and they would get lucky enough to build a big enough arena. Not just an arena, but a full stadium called the Alamo Dome. Now, the purpose of the Alamo Dome was not just for basketball, of course, which is odd. We'll get to that later. And it's considered to be a multi-purpose stadium. It was for the attraction of an NFL team, which they never got. But they got the second best thing, college football. Because I guess UTSA, the Roadrunners, playing there at times. And of course they have whatsoever match in Division I college football going on in there. But the San Antonio Spurs would play in the Alamo Dome from 1993 to at least 2002. Now, for basketball-wise standards, the capacity was at a standard 20,000, but it could expand to 35,000, sometimes to 70,000 for NCAA basketball tournaments. Way bigger than what the capacity is for NFL football or American football. But like I said, they can play American, Canadian football in there, baseball, basketball, ice hockey, boxing, wrestling, and of course hold concerts and all that other stuff. One of the reasons why the San Antonio Spurs moved out of the Alamo Dome, mainly because the $186 million dome had bad sight lines. Some of you guys may notice, if you guys watch Spurs games back in the day or even play NBA Live, that half of the stadium for the Alamo Dome wasn't a full stand stadium. It was like half like stands, and the other side will be like a curtain behind it or something like that. That's what the best way to describe it. I always thought that was odd. Actually, recently, now that I think about it, it just had the NCAA basketball tournament in there last year, where Florida won against Auburn in 2025 Final Four. I forgot all about that. But it had bad sight lines. It just wasn't really all fit for basketball. Like I said before, it was just fit for football. So eventually, by 2001, the San Antonio Spurs, they didn't want no parts of that anymore in there. They didn't want to deal with the bad sight lines, the weird capacity. The stadium was somewhat starting to age, but not really. So, the San Antonio Spurs took their talents to East San Antonio. And in East San Antonio, the multi-purpose indoor arena will be built, called the SBC Center, later changed to AT&T years later. Broke ground in mid-August 2000, opened up right before the season started on October 18, 2002, at the same price it costs to build the Alamo Dome. Now, you see what I mean by the prices of these stadiums going up to build these stadiums, because the Alamo Dome is a big stadium. That only costs $186 million. The AT&T Center, aka Frostburg Center, is probably half that size and costs just as much. But regardless, the arena seats 18,000, 19,000 for concerts, 18,000 for basketball, 2,000 club seats, 50 luxury seats, and 32 bathrooms. I was saying it costs $175. Which one is it? But anyways, financed by county issued bonds, which was supported by hotel occupancy and car rental tax increase, an additional contribution of $28.5 million from the Spurs. SBC Communications would purchase the naming rights to the facility under a 20-year, $41 million naming rights agreement with Bexar County and the San Antonio Spurs and the San Antonio Stock Show Rodeo in 2000. Later, SBC Communications would change their name to AT&T. Thus, the name AT&T will start in 2006, which would be later changed to the Frostburg Center in 2003, which became official. Now, the Frostburg Center would supply a home for not just the Spurs, but the San Antonio Rampage, American Hockey League that only lasted about 18 years, and of course the San Antonio Stars. Now, San Antonio Stars were a WNBA team that would later move their talents to Las Vegas and become the Las Vegas Aces. It's funny. They wanted to move out of the Alamo Dome because of sight lines and the weird configuration. But they still had the same problem with the Frostburg Center with the sight lines. But at least they had the weird floor space configuration like they had in the Alamo Dome. Now, the Spurs will see plenty of good times in the stadium, winning a couple rings in that stadium. I'm trying to think that they have all but one, man. I think it might have been the 2007 finals win. They might have won that in Cleveland. I think the others, they did win it in that stadium. So there's that. But there was also, from what I researched and heard from a couple of fans, the Frostburg Center was supposed to be surrounded with more entertainment opportunities. I think there's another stadium right next to it. And this stadium is in a weird location. It's not downtown, it's East San Antonio. And I happened to visit San Antonio a couple years back and went a little sightseeing, went down to the Alamo, Tower of America, saw the Alamo Dome, saw the dirty little creek, as Charles Barkley would call it, the River Walk. But there was one thing missing I wanted to see. Where the hell is where the San Antonio Spurs played? And that's when I realized I had to travel to East San Antonio just to get to that stadium. And not to take offense, I'm not taking offense, but not to offend anyone. Stadium is kind of in the, not so pleasant area compared to the rest of where I was at in the city. Kind of hoodish, rundown area. And I guess there was a promise to build that area up, but it never happened. It's been the same since. Now, skip forward ahead to last year. The San Antonio Spurs plan on moving it out of the stadium and move into a new stadium. Now, the stadium, SBC Center or AT&T, whatever you want to call it, has seen a couple of renovations. One in 2014. Actually started, was okayed in 2014, but started in 2015. That was really the only renovation that it had. But in November 2024, the city of San Antonio revealed plans for a new downtown district located near the Spurs' old home, the Alamo Dome, and the Tower of the Americas. That would include a new arena as well as a new convention center, hotel center, and acres of retail and residential development, and improvements to the Alamo Dome. The Spurs have committed to $1 billion for the district, which will further funding coming from the city, the county, which the city is in, and other sources. The timeline proposed will see the Spurs' new arena, convention center expansion, convention center hotel, entertainment venue, and mixed-use development completed or under the construction in the next 1 to 5 years. The financing plan was approved just this past summer in August 2025. Now, why are the Spurs planning on moving to a new stadium? Well, I just pretty much said it. Now, the stadium, the Frostburg Center, is probably about, let's say, estimation 20 minutes, 30 minutes away. I'd say 20 minutes away, but 20 minutes away from the downtown area. Now, just my expertise of being in the city one time 3 years ago, it seemed like most of the tourism happens downtown because everybody wants to see the Alamo. People want to venture to the Tower of Americas, and a lot of people like to drink among the Riverwalk, aka the dirty little creek. So if all your entertainment is in the city, downtown area, why not move the basketball, your only team, professional team, down to downtown to make everything closer, to generate more money, to get more money in that area? Especially when the Spurs possibly could be championship contenders in the next few years with the arrival of Victor Wembanyama and now Ron Harper's son, Dylan Harper, who I heard is supposed to be good. So I believe that's why the Spurs are trying to move out of the Frostburg Center into the downtown area. But what will become of the current stadium? I don't know. Maybe the UTSA Roadrunners basketball team will move into it. Maybe, because the stadium, from what I researched, I haven't heard too many problems with it. It's still a viable stadium to be in use. Maybe they do what they did doing out here currently with the former Arizona Coyotes or Phoenix Coyotes, whatever they call themselves. But the Arizona Coyotes former stadium, the Desert, I think it's called the Desert Diamond Center, or whatever it's called, out in Glendale. Basically, that's just being used for events, concerts, since the Arizona the Arizona Coyotes no longer exist. Well, most of the team has been moved to Utah and became the Utah Mammoth. But anyways, maybe something to happen with that, with the Frostbank Center. It's still a good stadium to use. But it just seems like the management of the San Antonio Spurs can't really decide on where they want to be at. But then again, they have been in the Frostbank Center for over 20 years now, after spending 10 years in the Alamo Dome. So who knows? Do I think this is a good idea to move the Spurs back into downtown San Antonio? Well, from what we've seen so far for most of these newer stadiums they got in these cities, most of these stadiums are downtown, like Fiserv Forum. Somewhat the Chase Center is not the heart of downtown San Antonio, not San Antonio, but San Francisco, but it's still downtown. We all know the Staples Center, aka the Crypto.com arena, is downtown LA. The Intuit Dome is not downtown LA. That's Inglewood, but still. But my question is why? Well, then again, I answered my own question. I was about to ask, why not build around where the current stadium for the Spurs is at? But that wouldn't make sense either. Tourism is all downtown. So keep the tourism downtown, generate money down there. So that's the way I see it. I hope that helps. But we all know these teams sometimes always scurry for a new stadium when they don't think the stadium is subpar enough to be held up. So we shall see what happens in the next few years. But tell me what you guys think.